What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Bodacious Exchange. Juan, how you doing over there, my man?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. Excited to stalk. Just excited to stalk today. Excited to talk today. Jeez, I should have done my owl now brown cow. Um, but yeah, it's coming off the second weekend in a row of bachelor parties, and I'm starting to feel it a little bit. Starting to
feeling
feel it.
the feeling it wear you down a little bit, huh?
It's 2 straight weekends of traveling, 2 straight weekends of bachelor parties. Um, yeah, starting to feel it a little bit.
I'm feeling a little groggy myself today. We're shooting this a little bit after 2. I've been on this weird old man sleep schedule where I'm waking up at like 4 in the morning randomly.
Oh wow.
So I got out of bed at like 4:30 this morning. I like being up that early because like there are no distractions, so I can be super productive. Like got all my coding stuff taken care of for the day, got a nice workout in, got a good stretch, made some breakfast. But then by like 11:30, I'm gassed. I've already had like you know, good amount of a day. So I let the nap get the best of me today and
Mm.
managed to scrape myself out of bed about 45 minutes ago. So hopefully this afternoon coffee will kick in here for me. But if you see my eyes drooping, that's what I'm dealing with here.
Yeah, I'm drinking afternoon coffee too. Quarantine, baby.
So we've got some great feedback from our viewers out there. Love you guys. Thank you so much for all the feedback, positive, negative, in between. It's a learning process for us. I know we've already learned a ton. Just wanted to address two of the main things that we've heard. First off, we've had a lot of people say that we need to release on Spotify and some other audio only mediums. That's how most people are taking in their podcasts these days. And I completely understand that. That's definitely something that we've talked about. Currently, we are looking to more focus our views. So I definitely think that that's something that we're going to get to in the near future. But right now, we're looking to build our main channel first rather than kind of spread out the viewership. So at this point, until we reach kind of a critical mass of subscribers, that's kind of our main goal there, is to get enough subscribers on the YouTube channel. We don't want to divert people away from the YouTube channel at this point. So all you Spotify listeners, Apple Music, all that good stuff, we hear you. We appreciate your feedback. Definitely something we're going to get into in the future. Just right now, like I said, we want to kind of focus on the one channel so we're not spreading our views a little bit too thin while we're getting started.
Especially since you have that mustache, we have to make sure that we show that off. So there's no way you could see the mustache just by listening to it on Spotify. So we got to focus on YouTube as long as you got that stash, man. Come on.
We want to give you the full visual experience here. We got a lot of feedback about the mustache. So the mustache is here to stay.
Yeah, it's all positive. It's all
Deal
positive
with
feedback.
it.
Yeah.
Also got a lot of comments about our UFC videos. Our goal initially was to do a recap after every event that the UFC had, because those are wander on the phone Sunday morning talking about the fights anyway. So we figured why not do a video for it. But I know a lot of our fans aren't quite as diehard about the UFC as we are. So what we're going to do from now on is just recap the pay-per-view events. So that'll only be once a month. It was a question that we had of whether or not we could pull that off to begin with. But now it seems like UFC has an event every single weekend. So we just want to
Yeah.
pump the brakes and up the quality of that content and probably only bring you those about once a month. Yeah.
Yeah, they're firing off events left and right. I mean, there's no stopping the UFC machine, which is great, but pump the brakes a little bit. Focus on the main ones.
There was a solid one this weekend, but we'll spare you the details on that and save it for the exclusive when it comes out at the end of the month.
Yes.
After we have
Yes.
UFC 253 Adesanya versus Costa the end of September here. Pumped about that one.
We're in September, right? Like this is happening. No, it's tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah,
Tomorrow.
today we're shooting this on the 31st here, so
Wow.
last day of August. Where's the year gone, man?
Oh, jeez. In the shitter. That's where it's gone. It's absolute. It's yeah.
I had some people ask me about how my audition went. Something I talked about on the first episode.
Yes, and I have not heard this. I'm pumped to hear about this. Yeah, Keith tried out as lead singer of a band, right? Youngest by far in age.
This was the second band that had reached out to me on this website called Band Mix.
Okay.
Initially, I'd created an account on there last September, and the first meeting didn't go so well. Check out our first episode for that full story. So these guys had reached out to me, 47, 42, and 37, I think were their ages. But the 47-year-old is the one that reached out to me on Band Mix, who I was texting. And I don't want to bog you too much down with more stoicism, but temperance is another one of the virtues. And that basically simplified version is saying, analyze all the things in your life and strip away what's unnecessary. A lot of people are highly stressed and rushing from one commitment to another, and really go over what's truly important to you and stick with that. So kind of along those lines, I was looking at this band audition. I'm like, well, man, I got the podcast going, filming those, coming up with content, as well as doing the editing. Like I spend a lot of time doing the video edits on all of these, a lot more time than I initially thought it was going to, doing some graphic design, but also trying to continue to learn coding with my Code Louisville. My second class just started, practicing that, building my portfolio, continuing to apply for jobs and go through interviews, and then exercising and eating. And it just seemed like it was going to be too much for me to do. So,
and you got to keep the wife happy too. I mean, happy wife, happy life. You
got that right. You got that right.
There's another job. That's another gig there for you.
So I texted the guy. I wasn't going to just bail and not say anything, because I hate it when people do that. I think it's super disrespectful. So I was like, look, man, I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to be able to make it this weekend. I've got too much going on. And completely honest, I don't know that I'm going to be able to make it work with how much I have committed to already. He responds to me. This guy's 47 years old, by the way. Again, he's like, let me ask you something, man. Here's what I want to know. You've had this planned out for 2 weeks. You were committed to coming with us and putting in the work. It was supposed to be just for fun, first off. But anyway, he starts he sends me a 2 text message. This guy, I've never met this guy in person before. And he just kind of goes on like that for a while, and he wraps it up. He's like, I would say good luck, but fuck ya.
Wow. Jeez.
I'm like, okay, wow. Hollow Point. I went back and looked at his profile. His name is Hollow Point with a 1 for the I. I was like, yeah, probably dodged a bullet by not going to that one.
But
who says that to a complete stranger? I would wish you good luck, but fuck ya. Like what?
Well, someone with the name Hollow Point. Absolutely. Yeah. Go to my profile, baby. It's Hollow Point.
Oh my god.
At Hollow Point. But it ain't spelled the regular way. There's a 1 where the I should be. Or what was it?
Yeah, it's exactly. There's a 1 where the I should be. Check out my band's Facebook page. We're cool.
Yeah. You want to hear some real rock and roll there, baby? You need to check out my band's page, because I tell you what, we'll rock your socks off, girl. It's like, what girl is, you already know that's happening. Like, what girl's like, oh, baby,
Oh my gosh. I played one of the samples that he sent me to Anne, and she was like, this is garbage. What are you even thinking? uh,
Dodged a bullet.
Definitely dodged a bullet there. So had to deactivate my profile on Bandmix.
Oh man.
Remembered to not just let that linger anymore. Um, so yeah, that was fun. Speaking of bands, this weekend I got to go to Metallica's drive-in nights. It's the concert that they filmed exclusively for drive-ins across the country,
Yeah.
and it was awesome.
Yeah, I want to
So,
hear about this, especially I'm all interested in the production. I'll geek out on that. I mean, I love that. I want to hear it all.
so I'll just take it from the start. It was a lot less crowded than I thought it was going to be, so I was pretty pumped about that.
Hmm.
So, just a huge gravel lot with a giant drive-in theater. Everybody just kind of pulled in whenever you got there. There was no like reserved seats or anything.
It
And
was all GA.
essentially we
So
just like backed our car to the screen, popped open the trunk, brought some lawn chairs, had a
uh,
cooler, and just sat there and took it all in, man. We had a little portable boombox as well as the car speakers blaring. It was just playing through a FM station. um 3 Days Grace comes on first. It was interesting. I like their music a lot. I like their original lead singer a lot more than their new guy, but not to hate on that guy. He's got a great voice. Just, I thought the original guy was awesome. Uh, they played a new song. They did a remix of Somebody That I Used to Know.
really,
Exactly. Your face is exactly what my reaction was. And I mean,
Kings
it
of
didn't
Leon,
sound,
right? That's
I
Kings.
think it's Gautier or something. Gautier, Gotye.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Oh no, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. I don't know why Kings of Leon pops in my head. I'll look it up. Go ahead.
I mean,
Sorry.
it wasn't a bad rendition by any means, and I get why they would want to cover a song like that to appeal to the new generation of fans, but it didn't do it for me. So they started off pretty hot, ended kind of lackluster. They just filmed theirs in a little bitty room with just the four band members. Really good production quality though. The sound was great, the cameras were great and everything. So then, usually there's like 15, 25, 30 minutes in between bands at a big show, setting up, doing sound checks and all that garbage. So from
Mm-hmm.
the time they end, there was a 2-minute countdown to when Metallica starts. So that was awesome. Um, all of the previews, it had shown them in their recording studio where they do their like album work. So I thought they were just going to record it in studio, but they did it in the middle of a field in Colorado. It almost looked like a Woodstock kind of setup, but
Hmm.
just them on a stage in the middle of nowhere with nobody around but their production crew. And it
Yeah.
was awesome, dude. Like it
That's
kind of
cool.
get,
Yeah.
because we were in a field watching it, so like the screen kind of melted away almost like they were there in the field with us. And yeah, man, the production quality was top notch. They sounded amazing, did a great set list. I could definitely get used to seeing concerts like that, especially when you think about like you can go to the bathroom and come back. You don't have to worry about your spot getting taken. You're not like shoulder to shoulder with some sweaty dude that's like 10 feet tall in front of you and blocking your view of the stage. Um, we got to bring our own coolers. So like we had our own food and drinks and stuff like that. So we didn't have to waste, I mean, a beer is usually like $8 or $9 at one of those things. So that was great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just overall, like I absolutely loved the only thing I wish they had were like house speakers that were super loud, because our setup was a little bit ghetto. That would be the only kind of knock I had on the whole night. Other than that, though, dude, it was a blast, absolute blast.
That's awesome. That's all. Was there any traffic coming in at all? Any like
Not
wait, like
really.
long line? No.
No, I mean
Ha-
They just held it up until 6:30. They just started letting cars in, so everybody was in line until then. But then once it got rolling, it was super smooth. They just let the cars drive around one at a time and file in, just like parking at a big event. You had a bunch of kids leading you to the
Hmm.
next open spot, and it was smooth in, smooth out. Um, yeah, man, it was awesome.
That's sweet. That's sweet. Uh, I'm pumped you had a good time. And that there are some forms of shows that are actually going on still. Of course, I don't like hearing that, there's going to be no more fans for that one, because there's just no way for it to survive. It's just kind of it's just a placer right now, just to fill
Yeah,
the void. That's really all it is. And hopefully one day we will get back, which I know I've said on here before. I don't believe that we will, if as long as people keep disregarding wearing a mask and disregarding, social distancing, rules, and people are just disgusting, not washing their hands, that sort of thing. And who knows, this could all just be after the election. It's like, psych, Corona's over. Everybody get back to work. Who knows, man? Who knows? I don't know what to believe anymore, but um, I really don't. All I do know is aliens are real. We'll talk about that later. Uh, but yeah, man. I mean, hopefully we do get back to those concerts, and I can get back to my career, and we can all just get back to. I mean, there's nothing like a live show, man. There's just nothing like a live show. If I totally understand what you're saying, though, especially now. I would not want to attend a show now. Not a normal GA show with, say,
Oh, not at
2 to 5,000 people.
Yeah,
No,
no way.
get me out of there, because I don't know these people. I don't know where they came from. I don't know what's going on, what they have. So it's like,
I was
no.
stressed out enough going to Costco last weekend. You should
There
have
you go.
seen the ignorance in that store, man. Nothing drives me more crazy than seeing people wearing a mask or like having a mask clearly in their possession and not properly wearing it.
Yeah.
Newsflash, people, the mask is supposed to go over your nose. Your nose doesn't get to just hang out outside of the mask. And your mouth should be under it too. Like, saw a whole family
That's
of
my
people.
favorite.
It was
It's
pulled
like
down
this.
around their chins like a football chin strap. It was like, what are you doing? Like, what?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's my
Triggered. I
favorite.
was so
That's my
triggered.
favorite when I see that. I love when I see that. I'm like, well, looky here. We got another moron on our hands. All right. Loser.
Oh man.
It's like, wear the mask, people. Jeez, it's so simple. How stupid are we as a culture to be like, no, I'm not wearing a mask? It's like, you selfish asshole. Get out of here, man. God. Don't you see the country's in shambles right now? Put on the mask. Who knows if it's going to help? Who knows? Just do it.
Well, I
Oh,
mean, if you
man.
watch the RNC, we're past coronavirus according to them, it's all in the past according to those folks.
Well, according to my bank account, we're not. We're not at all.
It was just the last thing on that real quick. It was so awesome because like I've been a concert person my whole life. Like I like getting in there and bumping elbows with people usually. Like I know I said, don't want to be behind some sweaty guy, but typically I'm the guy like in general admission trying to get front and center. If there's a mosh pit, I'm down to bump elbows, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I seen you do it. And I'm like, look at this crazy mother.
There's just something about that energy and that kind of collectivism when a song comes on that everybody is feeling, especially when you identify with the lyrics. And Metallica is a band for me that you can tell, like James Hetfield writes all of their lyrics, most of the lyrics as far as I know. Like he's definitely somebody that struggled. He's been in and out of rehab a few times. Like he writes very poignantly and he doesn't BS with like his real feelings, and you can see it on him when he performs sometimes. And like, man, it just felt great to like have that kind of connection to other people that you get from a live music atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense at all. Like it was, especially after being isolated since March, like it just felt great, even though we were still socially distanced, to like be around a big group of people like that were all there on the same wavelength. Like it just, like it kind of satisfied something within my soul
Mm-hmm.
almost, that like I just felt a lot more serene or calm, kind of more grounded when I left there. And just, these past 2 days I've felt a million times better.
Well, I mean, we are social beings, and I'm sure. I mean, even just listening to that, I could kind of put myself like in that in your shoes, just seeing that. And the first thought that kind of came to my mind was, if I was in your shoes at that show, I would just appreciate the fact that, look, like there's still people that are willing to come out to these shows, respect the rules, social distance, and at the end of the day, what's unique about this is we're all going through the same thing together. We're all going through the same exact thing together, and that is this terrible, terrible horror / comedy / rom-com / just it's a weird, messed up movie. It's like a weird, Quentin Tarantino, co-directed by Rob Zombie, is like what we're going through right now. Yeah,
Yeah, man, I feel that. But I mean,
that is
especially
cool,
like James Hetfield, he had checked himself into rehab late last year, and he got out this year. I was a little bit concerned about, how he was going to look and sound and everything. And looks like he's, in a great spot now. His voice, it's really weird, man. His voice is like better now than it ever has been.
Huh.
It's like when they were kids, like they were like 16, 17, 18 years old when they first started. And they were just a bunch of like alcoholics that like didn't know what they were doing. The bassist, Cliff Burton, was the only one that was like a musician. The rest of them were just like kids that really wanted it. So like James didn't know how to sing, and like you can hear it on those early records. Like he has no idea what he's doing. He's just putting emotion into it and going balls to the wall. But
Mm-hmm.
now like he's sobered up. He's been working with a vocal coach. Like he's older than dirt, but he sounds amazing now. Like better vocal performance than I've ever heard from them.
That's awesome. I mean, I always know. Oh, excuse me. I always remember. It seemed like every time you guys went to go see Metallica live, I had something conflicting, whether it be a gig or I was traveling or something, and I just I always felt it. I'm like, there's certain artists that I've just always felt like, I'm like, you know what? It sucks that I can't go with the guys, but one day I'm going to work with them, And Metallica, for some reason, that was that band. It was one of those artists for me. I was like, you know what? One of these days I'm going to work with those guys, and I'll have to tell that story another day. But yeah, working with them was crazy, and they were all nice guys. Yeah, they were all nice guys. That's what everyone always asked me. They're like, dude, I heard you worked with Metallica. I'm like, yeah, it was nuts. And they were like, were they rude? Were they disrespectful or whatever? I'm like, no, like they were awesome. Like really? they were really cool. And plus, I mean, I got to, just chop it up with them, for a brief minute. But I mean, you're in the industry for a while. You can kind of tell who's just like, oh, I've done this and that, and the people who have actually done it.
Right.
I think the biggest thing is just, let's talk to them like they're regular people, because they are regular people. They just so happen to do extraordinary things. So, but yeah, really awesome. I'll have to tell that show one day. It was crazy.
Yeah, I'd love to hear about that again. That was a good story.
Yeah.
I remember growing up, they had this concert called S&M Symphony in Metallica, where they played with the San Francisco Symphony. I think it came out in 1999.
99, yeah.
Yeah, and I used to go over to my friend's house literally every weekend and watch that DVD, man. Like it had just came out. And they went last year and recorded a new concert with the symphony again. Some of the same songs, some of their new songs. They rewrote all the orchestra parts, so even the same songs are a little bit different. and that came out on Friday, so the day before the drive-in concert that finally came out. And dude, I'm telling you what, man, like I had a very emotional reaction hearing them, like hearing the intro song. They play this orchestra song. It's originally from a Western called The Ecstasy of Gold.
Hmm.
And it's the same one that they did when they initially played, 21 years ago now. It was the 20th anniversary. That's why they did it. And like, dude, it hit me in all the feels, man. I was in here by myself watching it at like 9 a.m. Friday morning, just like tearing up, like listening to the lyrics when they finally kicked in and everything. Like, just took me back to a place, man. It was a strange kind of out of body experience for me.
Yeah, music, man. It's powerful, powerful stuff. It'll do that to you for sure. That's awesome, man. That's great. Good stuff. Great stuff. Great stuff from the weekend. To experience your first show in a while. It's actually for me coming up. Here's your official invite, by the way.
Uh-oh.
A little plug for my boys, formerly known as C2 and the Brothers Reed. I know you know those guys. They are now Kentucky Ruckus, and they've been under that name now for a good amount of time. They have new music out.
Is it the same guys?
Minus the lead singer plus another. So they dropped one, added two.
So the guy that used to be lead singer / bassist is no longer with them?
He's no longer with them. Yeah, he went solo, I believe. So they added a lead singer, and then plus one more. So they're actually going to be, I think it's like the weekend of September 11th. It's like the 12th. Ah, geez, I'll have to get this date right.
The 12th I think is a Sunday.
Okay, maybe the 11th then. They're going to be at the Borough, because
cool.
in Lexington. Yeah, so you know how they have that, but the little outside area. So I guess they're just doing everything outside and whatnot. So I believe I'll be in attendance for that one. I've been itching to see a show. I was like, guys, what better way than seeing my boys, So it's gonna be cool. I've got a few people going already. I think I've got a table of 6, so you're more than welcome to be involved in that table if you want.
Okay. I love that little area down there with like good, I'm a big Goodfellas fan, and then they got all those breweries and everything like that. That's a cool.
Yeah.
I love how they revitalized that part of Lexington and turned it into a happening spot these days. Hopefully they survive through all this Corona madness. So it was great to get to a live show again, having a out of body experience. And, speaking of out of body experiences, I know you've been dying to talk some aliens. So, with that, I'm going to leave the floor to you, my good friend.
Yeah. So first off, I'd like to say that I was talking to, dating, whatever you want to call it, a girl. This was years ago, and I was hanging out at her house, and she had actually just like crushed me in Mario Kart, and I was like trying to win. It was bad.
You always had a weak Mario Kart game, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, I'll admit it, but I was good at sports. So she had just got through like crushing me in Mario Kart, and we were just hanging out, just talking about random stuff. And I don't know how the topic came up, but basically at that time she was just like, wait, are you saying you don't believe in aliens? And she was like the queen of sarcasm. Like, she was super funny. So I didn't really know if she was serious or not. I'm like, bet, come on. Come on. Like, really? You actually believe that? And this is like 2013. Okay. This is a long time ago.
Okay.
And she was like, yeah, are you saying you don't? Because honestly, you just became unattractive to me if you don't believe they're real. I was like, whoa. Let's pump the brakes here a little bit. That's you harsh. Serious? Yeah. She was dead serious, and she had her reasonings. I was in total denial. And now as I've gotten older and wiser. So obviously she was wise amongst, for her age.
One of those old souls.
Yeah, she was. She was. Shout out to her. She knows who she is if she ever hears this. Yeah, awesome girl. But anyway, now, I mean, come on. If you're denying this, number one, and she may have even put it to me like this. It's like, how selfish are we to think that in the entire galaxy, we are the only beings, right? The only
Heck with galaxy, the universe.
Universe. Well, I was just going galaxy, the universe.
Yeah, I mean, there's
Come
enough
on.
in the galaxy. Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah. I mean, it's infinite. Like, how can we be, well, we're the best. It's like, are you kidding me? Have you seen the United States right now and what we're doing to people? Like, people are willing to fight people in a Walmart just because they want to put a mask on. You're thinking that we're like the ultimate beings. We're like, no.
We're top of the food chain, baby.
Yeah. We're not the most intelligent beings because there's definitely other life forms out there. There has to be. So it was kind of put to me that way. It's like, how could you be so selfish to think that we're the only people that exist or the only beings that exist, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a numbers game at the end of the day. It's like, really? Come on. It wouldn't make sense. It would not make sense.
That's kind of the way I view it as well. Like, especially with how many different species we have on Earth. We're one planet, we're in our small solar system. We used to think that the Earth was the center of our solar system and everything revolved around us, going back to your whole, how selfish are we? So, then, taking a step back, we realize that we're actually revolving around the sun, and then our sun is just one of millions or billions of suns within our galaxy. And then our galaxy is only one of billions and billions of galaxies within the universe.
Billions and billions and
So, yeah, no, I mean, looking at the numbers, it's just, to me, it seems like an inevitability.
Right. Totally. Yeah. And
so what took you from not agreeing with her to coming around to where you're at now?
I think it's funny because there was something that happened to me when I was really young that I'll get to, because now looking back, it's like, because there's so many people that think that aliens have been among us for many, many years, right? Mm-hmm. Leading back, to the crash in Roswell, New Mexico, where there were flying saucers or unidentified aircraft that was recovered. And now we're to the point where the Pentagon, I love it too, because it's really, if you think about it strategically, this is the perfect time to release the fact that aliens are real. Because like, I like to think of things in like the simplest of ways when I explain it to people. It's like, guys, look at the state of the United States right now and other countries. And other countries are starting to do a lot better in dealing with coronavirus, right? It's like, look at the state of the United States. This is classic, like, smoke and mirrors. Mm-hmm. This is classic, like, hey, look over here. Look at all these numbers. People are dying every day from coronavirus. If you don't wear your mask, if you don't do this, if you don't do that. By the way, aliens are real. So anyway, back to the mask. Aliens are real. So anyway, Trump and Biden in this election, it's crazy. Trump's a creep, but Biden's a creep, but aliens are real. It's like, it's the perfect time. Like, the people in the Pentagon are smart. They are smart people. So I think the timing is impeccable to release videos that have already been released or leaked, right? But now the Pentagon has come out and confirmed. Furthermore, they've went on to say that they have in their possession unworld-like vehicles, right? Out of this world, not like this world, right?
Otherworldly.
Otherworldly, yes. Sorry, I couldn't remember the exact quote, and I'm sure we'll put the article up here. I mean, I've got it. So, but
Yeah, I know you've got it pulled up. Why don't you go ahead and show us what you're talking about, and we can kind of talk through it here.
yeah. So this is a video of a United States Navy pilot, and this guy. Let's go ahead and play this guy right here. So yeah, this is what this pilot in the U.S. Navy. This is from his radar, his cam. You can see he's switching back and forth, trying to just figure out what in the heck he is looking at here, and what in the heck, or like, what are we seeing? And I remember him saying, there was no jet propulsion, there was no exhaust, there was no anything. And I mean, look at the movements that thing is making. Now, here's another video. This one's crazy. Look at that.
Yeah.
And this one, I would love everyone to look up this one and get the audio, because the guy who is like the navigator, look, that's when he locks on and he's screaming. He's like, whoa, I got it, baby. Hell yeah. He's going nuts because, it's like a ripple effect of all like the talk around, oh my goodness, like, different pilots are saying, well, I saw this, well, I saw that, well, I saw this. Well, now all of a sudden, this particular two-man aircraft, they're getting the chance to track and lock on, and he locked on, man. That's wild. That was absolutely wild to see. And again, here's another one, and it's just absolutely amazing to me that now the Pentagon is confirming, yes, these videos that were leaked years ago. So I'm sure a lot of you have seen these before, but they are in fact real. And they're starting to release more and more information about the reports, different vehicles they recovered, things of that nature. So I just thought that to be a big one there. I mean, come on, the Pentagon's coming out. Number one, if you ever have the time to go and check out the interviews of this pilot, you can tell he's such a smart guy. He's he's not into the whole alien craze, and he's not wearing the little, what are they,
tinfoil hat.
The tinfoil hats. Yeah, he's not that guy.
Yeah.
He just had this crazy experience, and he wanted to share it because, and you'll even hear him say too, like it's like, man, I don't know what that was, but it was not from this planet. And
I wish I could remember what that guy's name was, because I know he did a full podcast with Joe Rogan where they talked about this. And that was even before this was officially released from the Pentagon. So I remember watching those and being like, okay, is this some kind of BS doctored garbage? But then when the Pentagon actually released it, it's like, wait, that was legit? Like, wait, hold on a second. Because he talks about how, kind of like you mentioned, you can't identify a particular exhaust generally that's why he was flipping back to the different types of views. He was looking for some kind of heat or chemical signature coming from the craft as some kind of propulsion device, and they never identified anything that was coming off of it that would have been that. And then just the maneuvers they did in terms of being able to change directions and go up and down and go from not moving to boom, hundreds of miles showing up in the other direction. Hearing just like you said, the guy is a legit U.S. I forget if it was a Navy or Air Force, but he's a pilot. He's got no kind of crazy stuff on his record, and hearing him trying to explain these things, it's like, oh my goodness, what's going on here, man?
Yeah, and he was kind of geeking out about it. I mean, you could tell he was just overall, he was thrilled. He was so excited because he knew that, like, for whatever reason, he was the one. He was the one that got to do that at that particular moment in his lifetime. I'm sure these pilots have seen things that have been a little off or a little suspect in the past. Even commercial airline pilots, I'm sure that they've seen some things that other people are just never going to see in their lifetime. But seeing that, experiencing that, seeing it just, and I don't know exactly how fast they were going. He says it in the interview again, but there's like 100 and something knots, right? I don't know how they. I think it's knots, right? Is it knots? I don't know, man. Who cares? Who cares? All right.
It goes
Anyway,
really fast. It goes from not going fast to going really, really, really fast.
well, he was talking about his speed, and basically he was explaining how like it is very difficult just for him to maintain that speed to track him when it's just cruising along. So if it's taking everything in him and that powerful of a jet to just stay with him, and then all of a sudden, boom, he's gone. Like, whoa, that's enough to like freak you the hell out. You know, I think, I mean, think of it in a way of like anytime you see like a foreign like sports car, like a Lamborghini or something, you see it on the road, and all of a sudden, boom, you're like, whoa, that ain't no regular car.
Yeah, right.
You know,
Like an
but
Indy car versus my Camry or something like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
kind of crazy. But again, it just there's too many fishy things going on, and also Will Smith, he saw him up close and personal in the real life movie Independence Day that actually took place.
There's so
Jeff
I love.
Goldblum broke the code.
I read a book. It was called like The Science of Star Trek, but it wasn't just
Mhm.
about Star Trek. It was about like movies and going over like Independence Day. They talked about like the scene where the alien ship hovers over the White House and beams down and just blows it all up.
Mhm.
But I mean, basically, a ship that size would have altered the Earth's gravitational pull because of its mass and its density, to where if it would have got that close to the Earth, it would have thrown off our gravitational trajectory, and
Mhm.
like everybody on Earth would have died instantly. They wouldn't have need to fire a single weapon. Just the presence of something that big would have killed
Huh.
everybody on the planet.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a super interesting book. He actually wrote a sequel to it. Uh, I loved that thing. I went in a big alien craze kind of end of college and the couple years after that. Um, but yeah, I mean, people talk about how there's more information coming out, and they're kind of trying to hide it in plain sight. So there's
Mhm.
one guy that's famous for being an alien theorist, I guess you could say.
Ancient. What's his
Ancient astronaut theorist.
Ancient astronaut theorist. That's right. If you drink every time he says that on the show, you're hammered.
Shout out to Ancient Aliens. I love that show. I can't believe it's had
Love that
10
show.
plus seasons now. Actually went back. Well, let me wrap that up. He talked about, actually, he's one of the commentators on that show. I forget what his name is. It's not Graham Hancock, but he kind of looks similar. He talks about the show Stargate SG-1 and
Mm.
says that pretty much is how it works. There's these kind of stargates that connect different points in the universe, and you can, I don't know if it's wormhole technology or what, but more or less instantly travel these vast distances that would take lifetimes upon lifetimes to travel through normal means. Um, I went back to watch. So we were watching this movie with Kevin Bacon on Netflix. The name is failing me right now, but basically this kid takes these stones from the Grand Canyon, and they turned out to be like cursed with this alien life form technology, and it ends up haunting their family. But it's about the Anasazi Indians. It was the origin of
Mm.
it. And so I was telling Anne, hey, there's a really cool episode on the Anasazi on Ancient Aliens. And basically, it's a group of people that lived in the Grand Canyon region. And they are kind of famous for their cave drawings. And they used to do their dwellings inside of caves and, carved into mountainsides and things like that. But a lot of the pictures are kind of look like space people. And one day the entire culture just vanished, and
Whoa.
mainstream archaeologists might say that they were wiped out by settlers, American settlers moving west, and probably committed a genocide on them. But there are alternative theories that in their wall caves there is a Stargate portal, and a traveler from another universe, or not another galaxy, essentially showed up. That's why they have all these pictures that kind of look like space beings, and then took them back through the Stargate, and boom, that's why they up and vanished out of nowhere. So I mean, I
Man,
take everything on that show with a grain of salt. I watch it for the entertainment value because I think it's just fun, and I like to learn about like historical references and different cultures and things through shows like that. But it's definitely my one of my uncles is a huge fan, and every time I see him at Christmas, we kind of get into it.
well, I mean, there's no other possible way. There's no way you can tell me that the aliens did not build the pyramids. Okay. Civ- the human civilization did not have the tools capable of building such a structure. We didn't have it. We didn't
And some
have
of
it.
those slabs are like tons and tons and tons. Like,
Tons.
how did people get that up? Like, okay, they had to build a gigantic ramp system and then like somehow pull these stones that we could barely move today with our current technology,
Yeah, with
and like
machinery. Yeah.
cut them in a uniform fashion to where they all line up so well, and get them like, where did they even get all of the material for that? Like, yeah, it's funny you mentioned the pyramids, because in Stargate, that's they're doing a dig at the Great Pyramid, and they find this Stargate, and like that's the initial, like in the movie, that's the first kind of thing where they find the Stargate is at the pyramids, and then they
Mm.
transport to another galaxy, and then it's at a Great Pyramid at that place, and like the main alien is supposed to be what the Egyptians refer to as Ra, the sun god, and he's got this giant spaceship that like docks onto the pyramid, almost kind of like a charging station or like a parking spot almost. And there
Wow.
are theories with these weird chambers within the Great Pyramid that are kind of hidden, but very intricately designed to where there's these gases coming out from deep inside the Great Pyramid. So there's like speculation that there's a Stargate there, or that they were using the pyramids as some kind of like refueling, docking kind of station. Um, but there's pyramids all over the Earth.
Hmm.
Like, there's a giant pyramid in Antarctica. You
Really?
ever seen that thing? Yeah,
No.
yeah.
Hmm.
It's humongous, and there's a lot of weird kind of happenings that take place around it. Um, I mean, there's a lot of places like the Bermuda Triangle.
The
There's a lot in
Bermuda
like
Triangle is crazy to
pretty
me.
crazy, right? So there's a
That's
theory that like
insane to me.
aliens are still on Earth. They're just underground so that we can't see them. And whenever people like kind of get close enough to trip the alarm, people start disappearing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because there's two things I'll say about that. Number one, real quick, I got to say, shout out to Bob Lazar. How validated he must feel right now. If you don't know who Bob Lazar is, shame on you. But Robert Scott Lazar, okay, I like to call him Bobby because I'm friends with him. Uh, he's an American conspiracy theorist, which there's no conspiracy anymore. This thing's actually happening, folks. The Pentagon said so. Who claims to have been hired in the late 1980s to reverse engineer extraterrestrial technology. Um, so yeah, and he famously got let go by the company, and he also famously just had his entire past just wiped away, where he went to school, where he if he went to church, where he used to do his grocery shopping, his bank accounts, everything was just wiped off the planet, like he didn't exist, like he was in like he was in invisible. It's pretty nuts. And you know, he obviously he's done a Rogan. You know, he talks all over the time, or all over the place, all the time.
There's a Netflix doc on Bob Lazar.
There is. Yeah. It's awesome. It's awesome. But I had a pretty interesting story, and take it however you'd like. I still don't know what to make of it. Other than maybe just being lucky, which, if you know me, I'm a very unlucky person. It's a big reason why I do not gamble, because I used to shoot craps a lot, and I was pretty good at craps. But that's like when I was like in high school and like college, and it was for no money. You know, it was $5 max. You know, like I just not that guy. So
No idea how to play craps. I do hear that if you go to the casino, the best odds, if you play correctly, are through craps. My roommate in college tried to explain it to me, but it was way over my head. I'm a roulette guy or Texas Hold'em. Those are the only two things I do at the casino.
yeah, roulette for me, and then I just mingle. That's all I do. Yeah, I don't even win at roulette. So never been that guy. Never been that guy. But this is a story that I know you haven't heard. But when I was 9 years old, I was with my entire immediate family, and we were visiting my tia Gloria, who lived in New York. She lived near Manhattan. And this was my father's only other sibling that moved to the United States. And we visited her pretty often. And we're all walking in Manhattan, minus my dad. So my dad and his sister, my tia, they were hanging out, doing their own thing. We wanted to get out and sightsee. So it was myself, my mother, my brother, and sister. Okay. So we were walking in Manhattan. And I mean, the streets were just slam packed. I remember, especially being a kid, being very short at 9, and just everything just seemed so grand and just so huge. You know, I remember, it's kind of funny. I went back at like 16. I went back between 9 and 16, obviously, but I just, for some reason, when I went back at 16, it hit me, and I'm like, wow, like Times Square is actually not, like, it's not that big. It's really not that big at all. Like, whenever I go to Argentina, like Buenos Aires, I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy down here as an adult. But when I go to Times Square, maybe it's just everything's so congested. I don't know, but I'm like, man, like the Empire State Building, it's really big, but like everything else is not really that big. It's just a lot of everything. I don't know.
I could definitely see how growing up in Kentucky, especially, that would be incredibly overwhelming, though, for a 9-year-old.
Yeah, it was nuts. There was just so many people, and we did a decent amount of traveling, but that was definitely the first time that I'm just like, wow. So the way that we were walking, we were just walking down the streets, again, seeing sights and going into stores and things like that. It was my mom and I side by side, and my brother and sister. They were, I'd say, I like to reference things in yards because I'm just a football junkie, right? So I'd say they're about 15 yards in front of us, walking in the same direction. Okay, so I'm like, and I can clearly see them, but it was still, the streets were packed. And so I said, hey, Mom, I see Rick and Maria right there. I said, can I run up to them real quick and walk with them? And she said, yeah, sure. So within that small amount of time, I'm like, okay, turn up. I start to like give it a slow jog up there to catch up with them. Within that short amount of time, they had, their plans were unbeknownst to me. Okay. I had no idea that they were going to like an ATM or something. So in that short amount of time that I said, okay, and started to run towards them, they had went in to like a different store. Later I found out it was just like an ATM, but it was like one of those, it was like one of those like catty cornered ATM where you go in, it's all glass, and it's just like 15 ATMs. So
Yeah.
there's a bunch of people in there, but that's all it is. Okay. So anyway, in that short amount of time, they had taken a right and gone in there. So as I'm the little 9-year-old me, jogging up there to try to catch up with them, and I get to a point, I'm like, wait a minute, I don't see them at all. Like, what the heck? So I'm like, well, maybe they're up further. Like maybe I'm just going too slow. So then I go a little bit further and I'm like, whoa, this is not good. So I turn around and I don't see my mom. I'm like, oh crap. So then I backtrack and I get to like where I thought that I may have lost them. Don't see anyone. Look into all the store windows, look everywhere. And at this point, I'm 9-year-old me freaking out, lost in Manhattan. I'm just like, Mom, Mom.
Oh man.
Mama. and I started to tear up. And I'll never forget it. This is when I realized, hey, these New Yorkers don't play around. They were like bumping into me. They're like, hey, kid, beat it. Like, get out of the way, kid, you stupid idiot. And I'm just like, Mama, where are you? Rick, Maria, where are you? So at this point, tears rolling down my face, and I'm freaking out, full like, oh my God, I just completely lost my family. And at this point, I'm almost at a crosswalk, but I'm like to the edge. I'm like right at the edge where like the street light would be. And this is where at this moment, whenever I told my family, because I didn't really tell my family the full extent as to like what went down until we got back to Lexington like days later. And at this point, we were right in the heart of Times Square. Okay. And it was wild because here I am, no one's given me any attention at all. Like everyone in Times Square at that point, 9-year-old kid alone, crying, screaming for his mom. No one gives a damn. Okay. No one gives a damn. So all of a sudden, and again, I'm short, but still, I'm under like this like scaffolding, right? So I poke out. Now I'm at the corner, and then all of a sudden I hear I hear this voice, and she's like, "Young child." Number one, who says young child? Who says young child? And it was this woman, and she said, "Young child, you're lost. Where is your family?" And what was weird about it, and I'm not exaggerating at all, and again, take it how you want it. Of course, I grew up in a very Catholic religious family. Okay, so when I told them this, they're all bawling their eyes out, and my dad's like translating in Spanish, to my family, and at this moment, this is when my mother and father brought up the fact that when I was a baby, I was actually blessed by Mother Teresa.
What?
Crazy fact. She came to Louisville, Kentucky, and this was in the 80s. Okay, and I mean I think it was probably like 1988. All right, so I was like 1 or maybe anyway. She came to speak or do whatever, and
Teresa World Tour, get your tickets now.
we're throwing out blessings. We're talking about God, Jesus Christ, the Lord and Savior. Come on out to Freedom Hall. Tickets at Ticketmaster.com. Fees will apply. The Giving Back Tour. Oh my God. I can't believe we took this story there. That's hilarious.
Oh, sorry, that's just the image I got when you were like, she came to Louisville. I was like, what? Is she doing a world tour?
Yeah. Random, right? Totally random. So as my mom and dad told the story, there was all these people, wanting to see her. And she said, first, I want to see all the children. So anyone who had a child, they automatically moved to the front, and she like individually saw each child and like said a blessing, touched my forehead, gave me a blessing. I was blessed by Mother Teresa. Crazy.
Very interesting.
I didn't find out until I was like, I don't even know. Like I always was told it, maybe like 5, 6 years old. It didn't it didn't carry any weight to a 5 or 6 year old. I had no idea,
Right.
about. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So anyway, um, but they had reminded me of that when I tell them this, because again, going back to the scene, I just stepped out under the scaffolding. Okay, beautiful day out, by the way, in Times Square, and I look up as this woman touches me on my shoulder and says that, young child, you're lost. You're where is your family? And this is, again, take it how you want it. This is all I remember. She was a UPS worker. So she had the full brown suit on, and it was a black woman, but I could only tell by her hand, because when I turned around and looked up, like, I shit you not, I could see the silhouette of her head, but the sun was so bright. And I mean, again, it could be just perfect timing, but when I looked up, it literally was just, the sun was just beaming, and all I could see was a silhouette of a head. Never saw her face, didn't even try. I just accepted it. And she was like, I'll take care of you, is what she said. She said, I'll take care of you. Follow me. And I'm like, where are we going? She said, I'm going to get you to your parents. Everything will be okay. And I just instantly, number one, it's the first person that offered any help. But number two, I just felt totally safe. And I just felt like I could 100% trust this woman. And what she did is she took me by my hand and she led me to the police station that's right in the middle of Times Square. And another thing that's crazy is, again, I never saw this woman's face. And as she led me in, and I'm just like crying, I don't even care to look up. I'm just being led, feeling safe. She says, go look out that window over there. Sit on that chair. Go look out the window. And if you see any of your family, yell at these officers. And I remember the only time I looked back is when I saw her walking toward the police. And when she goes in and tells the police officers what had happened, they did not care. They did not care at all. They're like, yeah, all right, lady, whatever. And I just remember turning back around, looking for my family. And on the way out, she said, be safe. You'll be just fine. You'll find your family very soon. What? Like, okay, I appreciate the words of encouragement, but like, what? And again, man, it's so bizarre because I believed everything she said. Like, it felt so certain. It felt final. She left. 5 seconds later, I see my brother and sister frantically just running up and down the street, screaming, like run up the same block. So I'm yelling at the officers. And then finally they're like, all right, what do you want, kid? What do you want? I was like, that's my brother. That's my sister. That's my mom. I'm like, mom. Thinking they can hear me or something. So one of the officers, just big overweight dude, piece of crap. He was just so nonchalant about it. It's like, come on, man. I was a kid. I was 9 years old. You kidding me? And it's not like my family meant to lose me. It was my fault to begin with. Like, my family's awesome. So he hobbles on the crosswalk and, hey, lady, we've got your, people, we've got your kid. So then they come over, reunited with the family. Everything was all good. So again, it was just interesting because the only things that I really remember, and again, I was 9, but it seemed like she was 6'3", like extremely tall, extremely long-legged. Her hands and her fingers, it's like people who grow up as playing the piano. They have extremely like long fingers, because they're used to reaching, for the keys.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever noticed that. I mean, I play a little piano and stuff, but I started super late. Well, anyone who's grown up, they usually have those fingers. So that's kind of like what it looked like to me. That's the logical explanation, was maybe she was a piano player. Maybe she just had long freaking fingers. But I just remember her hand was massive. She was massive, super tall, super lanky. Didn't have a package in her hand. She had a UPS uniform on, okay? And again, never saw her face. Never once saw her face. blinded by the light. So of course, they all, my family all thinks that I was, saved by an angel is what they think. I don't know what I think. I just know what I know and know what I experienced. But I thought it was interesting to share, and especially with all the alien talk of aliens being among us.
Right.
There's plenty of there's plenty of illustration that you can find of what people would assume aliens would look like. Some of them think they're like 4 foot tall. Some people think they're super tall and lanky. I don't know. Was it an alien? Was it an angel? Was it just the one good-hearted person in all of Times Square at that point? Was it just total coincidence? Probably total coincidence, and just a person being a nice person. It's probably what it was. But you don't really find a lot of those people in New York, especially during that time. I don't know. It was just really interesting. I'll never forget. I couldn't understand why. Like, my whole immediate family was like tearing up and like crying. Dad was freaking out. He was calling Argentina, telling them all about the story. I'm like, why is everyone? It is a pretty crazy story. Just because, I mean, I was freaked out. 9 years old, just lost in Times Square. My mom was so freaked out. She was just, I saw it from afar, but she told me, again, people in New York, man, they don't care. She was so freaked out. She was running around with her purse like in one hand and her checkbook was in the other, open checkbook with a pen, running around like this, just frantic. And she said this one guy was like, "Put the checkbook up, lady. What are you, some kind of idiot? You'll get robbed here." Which is true. That's fact. Somebody could easily just whoop, thanks, and dip
let me
out.
grab that real quick.
But pretty wild, huh? So
yeah, wild indeed.
Yeah, saved by a stranger, 9 years old.
So when you were a kid,
Times
did
Square.
you think it was like an angel?
All I know is I felt something very off. Even thinking about it now, I mean, I go right back to that feeling. It was something that I'd never felt before, because growing up, I did not mess around with strangers. I did not nah, man, you need to get away from me. That was my attitude. I'm like, I don't know you. You're not familiar. You're not from my neighborhood. Nope. Nope. Get away from me. That was always my approach to that. And I don't really mess with strangers anymore now, unless I'm working and I'm forced. Like, I don't get away, man. Like, you go your way, I'll go my way. I mind my own business. I do my own thing, and that's just how I like to live. But I just felt an instant sense of comfort, and I just felt like I just believed every word she was saying. Like, everything is going to be totally okay, and that's just weird. I almost felt like a warm feeling, just like, oh, thank God. Like, I just went from this high anxiety moment where I'm bawling my eyes out to where now I'm like, huh, everything's gonna be okay. This is gonna be great. I'm gonna see my family again soon. Crazy. Who speaks like that? Young child.
For real. Young child, come hither.
What? So odd. Working for UPS, and there's nothing against anyone that works for UPS. It's a great job, especially if you're like driving. It's an amazing job. Back in whatever that was, 1990, whatever. Come on.
So when did you so as of 2013, you still were a big time skeptic. Like, what kind of shed some light to revisit that story? Like, when did you start was it listening to Bob Lazar? Was it seeing these videos? Was it something before then?
It was a few years ago. I started just looking on YouTube and just searching online, and Bob Lazar kept on popping up, and I just read a lot about his background. I listened to a lot of interviews. You can tell, like, that guy's. It's the same with the Navy pilot. His name is David Fravor, by the way.
Nice.
And obviously, whenever he came out, just hearing both of them speak, knowing whenever you hear these guys speak, they're not trying to spread anything other than the facts and the truth and they're just trying to tell people about their experiences. That's all these guys are trying to do. They're not trying to gain fame or anything like that. Um,
But
and
one thing that was crazy to me wrapping up that story about when we were watching the movie on the Anasazi. Like I said, I mentioned it to Anne that there was an Ancient Aliens episode specifically on the Anasazi, and we went on Hulu, which has all of the seasons of that show and every episode, but they had removed that episode. And they had
what?
removed, it looks like they've removed a lot of the episodes on Hulu. Like you can't find them anywhere anymore. So I don't know if it was somebody got mad with like a copyright of a picture or something. I mean, I have no idea, but I'm thinking they might have gotten too close to the truth and some of those episodes got wiped.
You never know. I mean, what other explanation?
Yeah, I have no idea. I tried to Google why they removed certain episodes, and I have no idea why. So anybody has any information on what's going on there, definitely let me know. Also, if you have any potential alien encounter stories in your past, let us know. We'd love to hear. Comment below with your stories. Or if you think we're crazy, let us know at the same time as well.
Yeah, yeah. And this is one of the last things that I'll say on this. Now this was before Bob Lazar. I started reading about a man by the name of Boyd Bushman, and he worked for Lockheed Martin. Okay, and look this guy up, people, and look at the video. It should still be on YouTube. He had a deathbed confession. Okay, he had a hospital bed in his house. His assistant, friend, colleague, whatever this person is, their role was to help him make this video. And throughout the video, he goes on to say his role. He seems very coherent. He just seems he was old in age, and he could you could tell. I mean, he was about to just let go and pass, but he seemed very coherent still, very very level headed. It's not like he was loopy on a bunch of drugs that was trying to keep him alive or anything like that.
Right.
So throughout the video, he starts to pull out Polaroids of actual aliens, like actual aliens. He brings one up and he was like, yes, this is from this crash on this date. We recovered. It was already deceased when we arrived, but we recovered. It's at Area 51. You know, they're preserving, the body, blah, blah, blah. Here's a picture. Oh, here's another picture. Here's a picture of an alien aircraft that we recovered from another crash. And he's just showing these pictures. And I'm just like, okay, I remember the first time I watched him, like, wait, what's going on here? They're like, what is going on?
I remember seeing that myself. I don't remember many details, but I also remember that there was a video that came out around the same time of a high-ranking Canadian military official who was just coming out and being like, yeah, aliens are real. We've had contact with them, blah, 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 yada, 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 just like very matter-of-factly. And this was like a very high-ranking official. I think it was in the Canadian military. If it wasn't the military, it was a government official. There's some interesting stuff out there, man. Skinwalker Ranch, that's a fun one to look into. Chichen Itza, that's awesome. That's just mainly spectacular architecture that we don't really understand how something so magnificent could be created so long ago, which there's probably normal explanations for that, but that's just another site that's got a lot of lore to it. Obviously Stonehenge, Oak Island, that's really an interesting place. It's, I'll let you, there's a whole series on Oak Island, which some people think is like an ancient treasure hunter's booby-trapped treasure dwelling kind of thing. Some people think it's like the Ark of the Covenant is buried down there. I mean, obviously crazy speculation all around, but
yeah,
I think it's cool to investigate these kind of things and, learn a little bit about history, different cultures throughout the world. Obviously take everything with a grain of salt. Um, but yeah, definitely a topic that I love to listen to and learn about. Yeah, I'll always be a big fan there.
Aliens are real, bro. Yeah, same. You know, it is very interesting. Um, really, Bob Lazar, man, it's like they just wiped all of his records off the planet.
It's
You know,
wild.
and he even says this may be in the documentary where I mean he didn't think he was going to live because he had cars continuously following him, following his family. His every step of the way, everywhere he would go, he would see there were people following him, and it's like, geez, man, like I'm really surprised he's still living. It's interesting. It's the whole thing is just is so interesting, and you know now he's got more books out. I think he's building his own lab, if I remember correctly. Um, so it'll be interesting to see what else comes out that is really just validating everything he's been saying for years and years.
Yeah, it's
And
still crazy for me
he's
to
not
believe
crazy.
that the Pentagon has released the videos and backs up what the pilot was saying. And I never thought in my lifetime that our government would get close to even talking about aliens. But then for an admission that this is something it that we don't know what it is.
Right.
That's pretty awesome to experience. And I hope we find out. I hope we find out more, because I mean, yeah, I think it's an inevitability that there's life out there. um you know could they have been here before? Could they be here currently? you know I don't know.
That's the crazy thing. It's like, are they here now? Is another crazy topic, but I totally believe it. I mean, we're very fortunate to be alive right now in a time where this news comes out. And it's interesting when I talk to people who are mainly more religious, but older people, when I'm talking about like 60 plus years old. And it's interesting because I kind of had like a different conversation. They're both similar in the way that I deliver it. Like I had a conversation with my mom. I'm like, how cheated do you feel by the American government? She's like, what? They told you they brainwashed your generation into believing that marijuana was terrible. Like, I would be pissed if I was you. Pissed. Which now she's at the age and she could care less. You know, she will
Right.
never, has never. So when I talk to other adults like that, you know, some of them are like, well, hell yeah, you know, I could have been smoking. But kind of like with aliens, it's like, how pissed are you guys? How, if you're 65 right now, how pissed are you that your entire life all you've heard is, well, you're a crazy person if you believe that there's other life. And now the Pentagon of the United States of America is coming out and being like, yeah, we lied about that one. They're real.
What's what's your favorite movie regarding aliens?
The original Aliens is awesome. Sigourney
Alien.
Weaver,
Yeah.
Alien. Sorry. Um, yeah, that one was awesome, and I loved the video game. That's a different story. Uh, I'd probably have to say Independence Day,
Okay.
right? I'd probably say Independence Day. That was a classic for me. That was such a classic. I remember seeing it in the movie theater. I think I saw it like twice in the movie theater. I loved it so much.
Okay.
Plus, that
That's
was a time
probably
too where Will Smith was like king at that time.
huge. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I was going to go along the Will Smith lines. I mean, I think I like Men in Black more than Independence Day. But I was going to take in a different direction. There's a movie called Fire in the Sky that
Hmm.
this guy believes he was abducted, and kind of loosely based on his quote true life events. It's really creepy. It's more like a serious kind of unsettling alien movie. I believe it came out in the 90s. Great one to check out. And then, obviously I love anything Star Trek. I've got got the Spock tattoo here. So, I'm a big Trek fan. Um, Any of those movies I love. Anne's more of the Star Wars person. I see Star Wars as more of fantasy and Star Trek as more of science fiction.
Yeah, yeah. I don't really think aliens when I think of Star Wars. I'm a huge Star Wars fan as well, but I don't really think aliens. I could see where, yeah, I get it. But anyway, Signs
Yeah.
actually is another good one. That Signs is kind of a sleeper movie. I think
It
Mel
kind of
Gibson did a good
is,
job.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a classic.
yeah.
Yeah, I just go with any of this. I'm currently watching the Star Trek Enterprise series. I had never seen that
Mm,
one before. It's like the first mission that the Starfleet has sent out. So it's about like the
mm,
beginnings of Starfleet and like the developing relationships with the Vulcans and you know the start of them finding out like about the Klingons and the Cardassians and things like that. Um,
the
so
Kardashians.
yeah, yeah. No, there's a race called Cardassians in Star Trek, and it cracks me up every time knowing who the Kardashians are.
Right.
But yeah, I had only seen Next Gen and the original series and the movies, but I need to watch. I hear Deep Space Nine is really good. I want to check that out too. Didn't want to get too deep in the weeds on nerding out, but just wanted to see if you knew any good alien movies. I also love Alien vs Predator. I thought that was really. I turned out great. Predator, just in general. I mean, Predator's an alien, so I guess that's technically an alien movie.
I guess so. Yeah, I didn't really think about that. Again, I mean,
That
whenever I
movie's
think
awesome.
that movie, the first one, oh my gosh, that
Yes.
movie is awesome.
You
You're
got
hit,
Schwarzenegger, you
you're
got Jesse the
bleeding.
Body.
Yeah,
Uh,
because you're hit, you're bleeding. I ain't got time to
I
bleed.
got Carl Weathers. Oh man, that's a great movie.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh my goodness.
awesome, absolutely awesome. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, you know, aliens are real. Hopefully, in our lifetime, we will see them. There's probably there may be some people out there that think we're crazy, but read the news, and I don't care what you think. I'll go with the Pentagon over your opinion. Um, but yeah, man, hopefully we could see him. I want to fly in an alien ship. That's what I want to do. I'm not one of those people. I'm like, take me, abduct me. No, I'm not one of that. I'm just like, dude, I want to ride shotgun in an alien aircraft. That's what I want to do.
Oh man.
with Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum.
Gotta have Jeff Goldblum there too. Yeah, for
He,
sure.
he he cracked the code. I mean, come on, he cracked the code. You got to have him there.
Oh, what was the movie with I think Seth Rogen is in it and the guys from Shaun of the Dead.
Oh yeah. Oh geez. This
Oh,
is
what is
the
that movie?
end. This is the end.
No, 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 no. This is an alien movie.
Alien movie.
Yeah,
I
what
thought that technically was whenever the world's ending. Danny McBride and all of them.
No, I mean,
This is.
yeah, I'm just thinking of a different movie. It's like a one Prometheus. That's a classic.
Yeah.
No, this is a comedy movie. It's got the guys from Shaun of the Dead, and they're like road tripping to go see Area 51 in their caravan or RV, and they end up encountering this little one of the Greys. Paul, that's what it's called. Have you ever seen Paul?
I was gonna say Ted, but I could actually see the cover. He's a little green alien, and they're like looking up. That's like the cover of the flick, I think.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
I don't know why I
Paul.
said Seth Rogen. I don't think he's even in that movie. Dude, that movie's classic. Oh my
I ne-
goodness.
I need to see it. I never saw it. I never saw it.
Highly recommended. Oh my goodness, yeah. Paul. That just popped into my mind. I haven't seen that movie in years. Um yeah, so give that a look. Let us know what your favorite alien movies are. So yeah, seeing the alien releases in the news, we had to give you a little bit of that's not necessarily breaking news, but that's over the summer that's come out. But moving on to other news, I don't know if you guys have seen this. I don't know if you would call it a scandal or calamity or whatever you want to say about OnlyFans accounts. I heard just a little bit about this through Anne, but Juan, I wanted to get your take on this whole controversy that's going on with OnlyFans accounts.
So I'm sure you all have seen in headlines, Bella Thorne. Okay. First of all, OnlyFans, like I've heard a lot of feedback on this. There's some people that think that in the next 5 years, there's going to be so many of us that have OnlyFans accounts that it's
So
going to
so
be such a
what
normal thing.
what exactly is an OnlyFans account? Like what is that?
So it's a platform where you can go on and post pictures, videos, whatever you'd like, mainly pictures and videos of yourself doing whatever. And ultimately, it's just become an amateur porn site is basically what it's become.
So it's like a
But
private channel and only the people have to pay to be able to view it?
it's a subscription platform. Yes, yes. It's
Okay.
it's a monthly subscription platform, and I honestly, I personally have a couple friends in the entertainment business that they have accounts, and I kind of discreetly help them promote it a little bit because hey, we're all unemployed here in entertainment,
Right. Yeah, no,
so
it's been blowing up over, these past 6 or so months with everybody getting
it's
laid off
blowing
for
up.
side hustles, yeah.
Yeah, one of my friends, she makes over $1,700 a month through her
Dang.
OnlyFans account, and that has kept her alive. It's literally paid her bills, kept her alive. She cashes out once a week. Um, does she want to be doing it? She's not thrilled. she's not she's not thrilled by any means, but she's very attractive and she's doing it. And I've got another one. They kind of just do it for fun, and she's been in entertainment for a while as well. She's making like 5 to 750 a month. It's not bad.
It's not bad.
It's not bad at all. So fast forward to current times, and in walks Bella Thorne. And there are a lot of celebrities that have joined the OnlyFans or hopped on the OnlyFans bandwagon. Even Plaxico Burress, a former NFL superstar,
What?
he's got an OnlyFans account now. Yep, yep. So I mean, it's not just the ladies; so the guys are coming in with OnlyFans accounts as well. Um, a lot of course, Instagram models. I mean, that's like gold for them. Any Instagram model, they're like, oh goodness, now I'm really gonna get paid. Oh geez, yeah. So anyway, in walks Bella Thorne, and in my opinion, she's a criminal. Like she's robbing people. So granted, whenever she comes out, she announces, hey, everyone, guess what? I'm creating an OnlyFans account. The internet goes nuts. Okay.
Right.
She, I think a day or two later, announces, I will not be going nude. Okay. So she did say that. However, this is what's crazy. So she gains all these followers, right? People who are purchasing the subscription, her monthly fee, whatever it was. I believe she started out like $19.99, if I read that correctly. She ends up making $1 million a day.
What?
$1 million in one day. So we're into day 2, and she's got $2 million in her OnlyFans account. So on and so forth, right?
That's
She does loot.
insane.
Insane to have that much. Okay, insane. Just like that. 24 hours, $1 million. And now she obviously starts to receive a lot of criticism because even though she announced it on her Twitter, well, I don't know if you're a 45-year-old man and you're here, and you're a fan of Bella Thorne, you're probably not on Twitter, and you just go to the account and the not really the stigma, but the reputation of OnlyFans is more than likely you're going to see nudity on there. Okay. You arrive and there's none of that. So she was starting to lose a lot of subscribers, but she's at least got their money for a month. And here's where she came in and just robbed people. And because of it, now OnlyFans, their payouts used to be weekly. Now, because of all of this, all of what she's caused, The payouts are now 30 days, which maybe they'll get back to a week once everything gets corrected. So now people who were used to these was it what it is, sex workers, right? And that was her claim, is she's trying to eliminate the stigma behind sex workers. Okay, she was trying to approach it in that way. She actually has directed a couple of movies in the adult film industry. So yeah, I didn't know that. So again, she's just trying to eliminate that stigma about sex and sex workers. But she comes in, and what's crazy is got all these subscribers, already announced you're not going nude. Then all of a sudden, cause all these issues. People are demanding refunds. Now, I'm used to getting paid out by the week. Now I've got to wait 30 days. That's just automatically causing a disruption in people's lifestyle. People who are used to getting paid by the week. And this one single individual caused all of this. Then there's a direct message. You have the capability to direct message your fans or your followers, your people who have subscriptions, right? And you can offer them to purchase an exclusive video that's just in their direct messages. So if you were to buy a subscription and you're scrolling through their profile page, you would not ever see these videos, right? And you have to pay X amount, and they have the ability to set the amount, and you have to pay it to unlock it. Well, she was sliding in everyone's DMs that had a subscription and offering a $200 fully nude video and or pictures. So people were paying it and they were unlocking it, and she was like in a bikini. She was not nude. There was no new video. She just straight up to people. She just straight up lied to people. Now, OnlyFans, because they're receiving so much backlash, because they have so many demands for refunds, you think about how many people she had to have subscribing to continuously hit that $1 million mark each day for however many days she had her account before it got frozen, I'm sure. $200 a pop, all these people demanding refunds, sending in emails, calling in, showing the proof. She said she was going nude in this. She blatantly lied. I want my money back, and also canceled my subscription. It's completely messed up the entire game, the entire platform. On top of that, now, if you have an account on your normal feed, it allows you to post a normal picture, and you can like it, you can comment, or you can leave a tip. And you can set the tip limit. Now you can only tip up to $100 for these girls in one set, or one, just at a time. Sorry, I almost spaced out there. Jeez, it's a groggy day. It's crazy. That's crazy. Like she is doing okay financially. Let's just okay
right.
to put it at. She comes in and just screws the whole game up, blatantly lies to people, takes their money, and is laughing all the way to the bank in her convertible Mercedes. Matter of fact, it's probably an Aston Martin convertible. It's like, come on. Like,
dang, so she ruined the whole game for all these people that are out there trying to hustle, that, are really grinding, and she comes in and just messes it up for everybody, essentially.
People like my friends who have accounts who, like I said, they're doing well. And one of them, that's how she pays her monthly bills. She literally pays her monthly bills. She has her car payment. She has her rent. She has all of her utility bills, groceries, whatever. That's how she's living. And now Bella Thorne comes in and just disrupts all of that. And she was financially stable, to put it in the very lightest. She's rich. She's filthy rich.
So now people there's a limit on how much you can tip somebody, which I would
At
imagine is a big source of income for them.
huge source of income. Yes,
So now there's a cap on that, and they can only cash out once a month as opposed to weekly.
every week. And on top of that, I believe they're also setting the direct message videos. That limit is also at $100 now, where she was asking for 200, getting it and lying.
So did she get to keep all the money?
That's what OnlyFans is trying to figure out now. And she recently went through like a string of like 4 tweets trying to apologize. And it was the most ridiculous apology I've ever seen in my life. She's not sorry at all. She only actually, if I remember correctly, she only said she was sorry twice in a string of 4 tweets. It's like, are you kidding me? She said she was sitting down with OnlyFans this month to figure out how to get things back to normal and how to improve on things. Who does she think she is to come in at a time like this? No one's out there thriving right now unless you're a massive corporation or Jeff Bezos. He's doing great.
Oh, he's doing great.
He's doing phenomenal. It's like, come on. You're going to come in here and you're going to disrupt these people's lives, these sex workers that you say that you're trying to protect, that you're trying to erase the stigma behind sex and sex workers. And here you come in as a thief, and you just rob these people who are paying. You're saying you're going to deliver a service to these people, asking them for $200. They're giving you the $200 and you're not providing the service. Simple as that. Ridiculous.
Man.
I hate the cancel culture that we live in. I think it's so stupid. I think that people read a headline and they just react, and everyone's so emotional and they don't research at all. They don't read. But this is the time where I'd love to see the cancel culture come in and just absolutely obliterate Bella Thorne and just get her out of the media, take her power away. Come on. Like that's ridiculous, man. And it's not even attacking her. Anyone who would step in and take that role, any famous person, no matter A, B, C, D list, celebrity, whatever. If you're coming in and you're taking money out of people's pockets just because you're an arrogant asshole, come on, that's crazy. Thief. She's a thief.
That's wild, man. And I've seen there's a big uptick in celebrities doing MLMs now. And I don't want to get into a whole diatribe about multi-level marketing being a scam, which it is for the most part. But like, you've got a lot of people from movies and TV shows trying to act like, oh, come in and join my, XYZ, whatever I'm pushing right now. And of course, a celebrity is going to be able to get a bunch of people on there. So then they say like, oh, look, I'm a platinum member and I'm in the top 1% and I'm making millions or hundreds of thousands doing this. And you can too. It's like, no, they can't, dude. If you're not if you don't have money to invest or you don't have a big following already, like you're not going to be able to, like, that type of stuff has ruined people's lives. Like they gas them up and give them this false hope to where they invest in all these product and then they're sitting there with no money, well, with negative money, having wasted it on all this garbage. And then it's like, oh, it's not the products that got you the following. You were already famous and had a following. And now you're leeching off of these poor people that look up to you. So you can turn another buck when you're already well off as it is.
Right. Yeah.
Gets me fired up.
No, I hear you. I hear you. And, all this happened at a time where I know you had a run-in with unemployment. It's been an ongoing battle with your unemployment.
Thankfully, I did, through a personal friend, was able to at least speak to a lawyer that was interested in working with me and possibly helping out. Not exactly his main area of focus, but he at least heard me out and said he's going to try to do something for me. So that was the end of last week. We'll see if it goes anywhere, but yeah, sorry to kind of throw you
No,
off
you're
there.
you're fine. You're fine. Yeah, it's good. I'm glad you. I mean, I didn't know that update either, and that's good. I mean, dude, I'm fingers crossed for you. You know, it's crazy, and I recently felt how real it could just thinking of the whole like Bella Thorne thing and what you've been going through. And I've been receiving unemployment for the first time in my life, and this is a time where I need it. Um, but it's after they took away the extra money. I mean, I'm more of a 1099 contract, employee. So, which doesn't really benefit you when you go to unemployment. That's why so many people in the industry are just, they're screwed.
Yeah, Anne's pulling based off of her job last year, which she was a personal trainer,
Hmm.
and so like yeah, she went from the 600 and now she's only making like 120 every 2 weeks. And I think it's
Right.
funny that they try to say they don't want to keep the plus up going because they want to incentivize people to get back to work, but then it's like what do you mean get back to work? My job doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. Right. Right. What are you saying? You want us all to go to factories or something? And then
Yeah.
and then at that point, it's like, well, no, I mean, they're going to be full. Everything. Yeah. What work am I going back to? Because, yeah, exactly. It doesn't exist. My job does not exist right now.
Yeah, my
So
previous job does not exist anymore. What a like
yeah, if I wouldn't, so in my off season, I would, as you know, I would work at, I mean, I worked at five different venues here in Cincinnati, so I was always bouncing around, and that's what ended up saving me because it was for multiple companies, and that's how I was able to draw at least something. Um, Now, one of those companies, I won't name the company; it's not necessary, but one of those companies has made serious mistakes in the past in regards to me, my name. I don't get how it could ever happen. I also they have a lot more people on their staff. I had 250, but I never make mistakes as serious as they do because I care and I double check my work and I triple check my work. So to me, when these types of mistakes are made, I don't accept it. I don't accept it. I don't. Especially if you have a job. Number one, you got a job right now. Number two, if the position that they're in, they're making good money to do what they're doing. That's unacceptable. I don't accept
what
that.
what type of mistakes are you talking about?
What they recently did, I got an email from unemployment saying that because I am a new hired employee, oh wow, I didn't know I got a job. Where am I working? So I clicked on the email to find out, and it read because I am a new hired employee and I failed to notify unemployment state and national level that my unemployment funds are in jeopardy of being discontinued for a job that I currently do not have at all. So someone, and it took me a full day. I left so many messages. It took me a full day to finally get in touch with HR, which HR is in a whole other state. Okay, it's a big company.
Sounds about right.
Yep. So they call me, and I'm like, "How did this happen?" And I mean, to their credit, HR handled it well, swiftly, and they were apologetic. But I knew that it took place in the local office here, and I know the person that did it, and she's not good at her job, and that frustrates me so much. And she can't handle stress, and just she's not professional in office setting. So many things that could go on. And I knew she was one of the main mistakes. And sure enough, so somehow she just decided that I was going to come back to work. And she, by the click of a button and processing me, I haven't gone into the office. I haven't gone into any venues or arenas or stadiums or whatever that I work at. She put me into a category of new hire. And she just put me in that category. I'm active. I'm on the roster. He's coming back to work. Really? I didn't know that. No one called me. I've told you all no every time you did call me. She just did it. And because of that, that's how I got the email. Now, they did send me exactly what I need to send to unemployment, but because I was so, here's where I may have jumped the gun a little bit too much and made a mistake myself. Is I have until September 2nd to reply to the email that they sent me, because they send you through a series of questions and things that you have to fill out, and they're basically asking you like, why did you fail to report this? How long have you been working there? How much money are you making? Et cetera, et cetera. And then they give you like a final notes. Well, then that final notes, it sucks because you can only go through it once. You can never go back, and you have to click. I understand. I can never go back, but I could have attached this document from them that they sent me saying, I do not work there. This was a mistake. He is telling the truth. Now I have that. So I'm hoping and praying that everything that I wrote, and now the fact that I'm not active on their employee roster, if that's what you want to call it, hopefully all that adds up and they don't discontinue my unemployment, because I believe that we're just about to get to in Ohio where we started to receiving that additional money. I know California is a state that they're already receiving it. I think maybe Nevada is already receiving it as well. Those additional funds.
I heard that if those funds do end up getting appropriated, it's not going to be the 400. It's most likely only going to be 300, and it's only going to last for a couple weeks.
Oh, wow. See, I don't know. I've read it was going to be backdated to August 1st, which would help a lot to receive that one lump sum. That would be huge. And then continue. I haven't read an end date yet. So here we are again. It's like, well, what do we believe? We're reading different things. These seem like good sources. Who actually knows what's going on?
And yeah, that's one of the big problems overall in the whole system is like, you just can't like with you submitting that and then not being able to go back and amend it, and you can't talk to anybody directly at unemployment. Like there's so much uncertainty, and just overall, like you can't communicate with anybody. You can't ask and be like, hey, did I do this wrong? Hey, do I need to, like, you would think with how many people that are out of work, they would be able to hire more people in order to more quickly and better process these type of things. But I honestly just think it's they don't want to, because they don't want to have to pay out more people. But I mean, there's tons of jobs that you could create overnight if you just say, let's give some more money to the unemployment system so we can really get people figured out here. But instead, we're printing trillions to give to huge companies to keep them crushing it, and then hoping it'll trickle down to everyday people, and it's just not.
Right. And I would be one of those people. I would go work for the state to do that for unemployment, because I would. Yeah, absolutely. I would love to, because I would know, number one, they're probably going to pay very well and the benefits are going to be crazy. And number two, I'd be able to help people.
Yeah.
Come on. Like, I'm a worker. I want to work. Like, I want to get back to doing what I do, because I'm busy constantly, and I love being busy constantly. And I love to be on the road traveling. So it's like, okay, if I can't do that, and this is an actual crisis, like, people deserve this money and they're not getting it. Come on. You could come in and make a difference and actually have a job to go to every day.
And
crazy.
I think, not to get too off in the weeds, but I think that, a lot of the rioting and just overall civil unrest that we've seen, I mean, obviously, the shootings, you got George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Jacob Blake. Obviously, that started big fires within themselves. But I think that, with the economic condition of a lot of people, I think that's kind of adding fuel to the fire, making a lot of these riots, making a lot of maybe the protests go over the edge and turn into riots, because you've got these other underlying economic factors that are putting people in this incredibly desperate and desolate situation where they feel like they have no other recourse but to take to the streets.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, there's just so much. Everyone's saying that the other side is saying fake news. So it's like, okay, well, what's really real? And on top of that, the economy. And on top of that, all this racial injustice. And on top of that, just constant, we're seeing every police brutality. And it's just like aliens are real, aliens are real. You know, perfect time to, by the way, you know, not to joke or anything, but that's how it's happening. That's what they're
You
doing.
have you have to joke about it, because if you take it too seriously, it's just you're gonna end up crying or punching somebody.
Yeah.
I read a stat today that of 18 to 24-year olds, 25% of them, one out of every four, has seriously considered committing suicide over the past 30 days.
And that totally, yeah. Yeah, for sure. I, I get it. I get it. Like that totally makes sense. It seems realistic. I
It's
mean,
unreal, man.
so many people have lost their identity. You know, I mean, we're not meant just to hang out and Zoom call and you know, and like that's like I said, we're social beings.
Mm-hmm.
We're worker bees. Like we need to get to work. We need to get back to work. Like we're not meant just to hang out in the house all day and get hammered and Zoom call everyone and just talk about whenever life was normal.
Right. And
It's
yeah,
we're
and
not,
then on top of that, the financial stress. I mean, it's not like these kids were graduating into the best job market already. And then you throw
right.
something on this, like this on top, like for me, just to personalize it, like I had been working at the same company for 3 years. That's the longest I had gone at a job since I graduated. So, I really thought I had a good career path lined up in a company that was gonna, help me finally climb out of debt and, someplace I could be loyal to and really, grow within. And then through no fault of my own, the rug is completely pulled out from under me. And here I am sending out resumes every single day. I mean, I've sent out hundreds of job applications at this point,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't even, like, as I always say, thankfully we had a little bit of money saved up, but like I can't imagine what some of these less fortunate people are going through. I mean, I can't imagine. It's crazy, man. People feel like they
Yeah.
have no other recourse, and that's how you get something like one out of four 18 to 24-year-olds seriously considering just ending it.
It's sad, man. It's sad. It's sad because I mean that is ooh, I mean what a place you have to be in to be considering that, you know. Um it's very, very sad. You know, I've had many friends pass away that way, and it's sad. It's extremely sad. It's just geez, it's heartbreaking to hear that stat. Man, yeah. We got to do something. Something's got to happen. Hey, buddy.
Yeah, and I think, just continuing to watch the current state of our political system, it just kind of exacerbates the problem, because you look at, I can't wait for the debates to happen, but looking at both of the conventions, it really seemed like nobody has a plan to deal with reality and
No,
actually get people where we need to be. So that just adds further to the feeling of desperation. Like, these people are idiots. They don't know. I don't think it's that they're dumb. I think they're willfully ignorant, or they're just, looking out for their own best interest.
hmm
And yeah, man, it's a terrible, terrible situation we're in right now.
makes me want to go watch the campaign so I can laugh a little.
I love that movie. It's an underrated Will Ferrell movie.
Yeah, yeah, it's one of my favorite comedies of all time. I
Yeah.
think it's hysterical from start to finish. Um, but yeah, that's kind of like what I feel like it is right now. uh, yeah, I mean, both parties are just pointing the finger like they have been, not willing to compromise, not willing to come together, like you said, present any sort of plan to provide people any sense of comfort or um, growth and sustainability. It's bad. It's bad, man. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of
I,
that's
I wish I had a more positive note to transition to right there, but like, yeah, I mean, that's where we're at. And that's kind of why I've been trying to beef up on reading and learning about philosophy and just ways to to kind of cope with the madness, because, as we've said, a bunch of times on here already, the more you try to stay politically engaged, the more maddening it is, man. All you hear from the Democrats is Trump is bad. They don't have any kind of proactive plan to present to people to give them hope. Like, Obama ran on hope. Like, I don't want to get too far into Obama, but at least he had the message of hope and change. You don't
Right.
have that from
Right.
the Democrats now. It's like,
Yeah.
we're not
Exactly.
Trump. Okay, cool. So what? Like, what are you? Like, what the
Yeah.
hell are you going to do? Like, there's no
Exactly.
forward thinking messaging at all. It's just, the other guy's bad. We're not as bad as the other guy. Okay.
Yeah.
And we need something to
Exactly.
vote for.
It's like their own agenda is to push the fact that Trump is terrible, and he's so terrible that you should vote for our candidate who was also really terrible, but at least he's not Trump. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, like you said, it's like none of that tells me anything about what you're about to do for the economy, for I just come on. Yeah, no, I totally agree. And then from the Republican Party, all they're doing is pointing fingers and saying a lot of the same thing. It's like, guys.
It kind of drove me a little bit mad watching the RNC last week, because it's like, you would have somebody like Rand Paul come on and talk about, like, Rand Paul, I agree with on a lot of things in his libertarian side, particularly like ending the wars and reducing the military budget.
Mm-hmm.
But then you follow that with a speaker that's like all about, we're gonna, like Dan Crenshaw, like, oh, we're gonna continue to beef up our military and continue to be the world's police. So it's like you've got completely opposite. So like, we're like, what are you actually presenting policy wise? Because you're covering all of your bases by saying everything. So what do you actually believe in? Like, you can't tell.
Right.
It's all just like talking out the side of their neck. Like, but then at the DNC, you have like Colin Powell, who's a former Republican and is like an Iraq war drum beater, like,
Mm-hmm.
and like John Kasich talking at the Democratic National Convention. It's like, what the hell's going on here? It's like both
Yeah.
parties are the same exact thing at the end of the day, and they all
Yeah.
have their own interests in, and it's a big club, and we ain't in it.
We're just spectators. Yeah. Yeah. I actually wrote down, go watch Tim Scott's speech from the RNC and tell me what you think.
Tim Scott.
Tim Scott. I believe
Okay.
he's a black senator from South Carolina, I believe. I didn't write that part down, but I actually went back just to see, because at the time, I don't know what I was feeling, but when he was speaking, I was like, huh, it was a great speech, I think. But go back and watch it and tell me what you think. Tell me if you believe it, because if what he's saying is true, it's a very interesting spin. It's a very interesting, very interesting point. And it's definitely what the Democrats do not want you to hear. I will say that for sure.
Okay, so it looks like he went after Joe Biden for the crime bill. Yeah. Okay.
He was also speaking on the fact that Donald Trump has done, in his words, Donald Trump has done more for the black community than Obama ever had. Which that's not the first or the 50th time I've heard that from a black congressman, senator.
What do you think about that, though? Because I mean, I feel like the Republican Party pulls out these like token black people that agree with them, and
Mm-hmm.
like fully just tokenizes them. But like, do you think that's true? Like, because I've heard Trump say it multiple times, he's done more for black people than any president other than Abe Lincoln, and it's like, what?
I tell you what, and Abe Lincoln was tremendous. He was tremendous. He's such a
How do you
clown,
say that?
dude.
How can you say that? Like what?
Dude, he's a promoter from way back, man. He's a promoter. He's a self promoter. Uh, you know, this is a whole other topic that we're gonna have to cover one day because I want to go back and get all of the actual facts. But I was paying close attention whenever he first took office for about the first year. Lost interest because everyone was just. I just get so fed up with it because again, there's no compromise at all. I do feel like people on the Republican side, just your average Republican, I do feel like they are more willing to listen to a Democrat's point of view, where a Democrat is not willing to listen to a Republican's point of view. That's what I've seen as a just sitting back and watching and listening.
I think I'm on the opposite side of that.
Well, there you
And
go.
like
There
a
you
lot
go.
of
This is just
a
what
lot of the
from what I've
Republican
seen.
voters I know only vote due to abortion, and they don't care about
Mm,
anything else. And it's
mm.
like, okay, I'm not interested in hearing any other discussion. Are you still pro-choice? Okay, cool. I'm not voting for you. And like it all
Yeah.
boils down to that. And a lot of
Well,
people that I know.
you know, and really, like, I don't really knock that because if that's affecting that particular person's life, and if that's something that is life altering to them, or it could be, hey, man, you know, vote however. If there was a candidate where even though I hated all of their other policies, they had one policy that was actually going to affect my life for their entire term as president, I'd 100% go that way. But the fact of the matter is that whoever the president's been has never affected my life. Ever.
Well,
Ever.
plus like if you like I don't want to get into an abortion discussion, but so Trump took office in 2016. Republicans had the majority in the House and the Senate.
Mm-hmm.
So with a supermajority, they're like they have the freedom to, I mean, more or less do whatever they want. Obviously, there's some restrictions because the Supreme Court has to rule on certain things like Roe v. Wade or overturning that. But like you had a supermajority and nothing like there's still abortions. So like what makes you think that continuing to vote for Republicans is going to change anything?
If that's your sole reason. Yeah. Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
get it. I get it. Yeah. I get it. And that could have been just something he ran his campaign on. And once he got in there and really dove in, he's like, oh, wow, this could be tough to overcome. Maybe he thought there was 100 hoops. There ended up being 10,000 that he had to jump through.
Yeah.
So he just, well, sorry, guys, we're going to have to put that one on the back burner. Let's concentrate on the wall or
I could
whatever
totally
it may
see
be.
Trump having had like forced one of his side pieces to get an abortion back in the day. I have like total speculation, but
I'd believe it on either side.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
To-
Yeah, for sure.
Totally. Yeah, I would definitely believe that. But I don't know that it is something that I would like to eventually speak about. Has Donald Trump really been helping the Black and Latino and Asian communities like a lot of people said he have been saying that he has done? I know people who I definitely listen to when they speak that are from the South, like someone like Killer Mike, a very, very smart guy. I know he agrees with Trump on a lot of things, but he also disagrees with him on a lot more. But I have heard him say that he's actually done more than Obama. And when Killer Mike says that, it's kind of interesting. It's kind of like, okay, well now I'm starting to believe because Killer Mike said it.
I've never heard Killer Mike say that. Like what?
Mm-hmm,
Like
mm-hmm.
what? Like in what way are they? What's the argument there?
I believe on bills that he has passed and policies he's put into place, because one thing that Killer Mike has been stressing, and I forget exactly what they're called, but basically they're just different zones where they're trying to create different zones where it's Black owned businesses, Black doctors, just so they can have their own community and not have to deal with all all the shit they're dealing with right now. Because it's like that in many ways, but he wants it to be more, hey, learn how to hunt, learn how to fish, learn how to start your own business, learn about the economy, pick up a trade, become a plumber, become whatever, and push those systematically racist injustices that they feel that they've been served for hundreds of years. So that's a lot of what he speaks on.
I don't see the argument there at all. I mean, when you look at the current, like, I know you mentioned this the other day when we were talking offline, like something that could go a really long way to help kind of ease tensions in the US right now would be a president that just comes out and at least rhetorically denounces police murdering people like the way they have been. But for Trump has only stoked the fire further on that. So like even in his rhetoric, I don't see where an argument, like a real argument, can be made there.
Well, see, that's what I'm interested to really dive into and research, because I mean there are so many things that he has done that have completely they're not going to get coverage because the whole agenda right now is to bury him. Of course they're not going to get coverage. If he goes out and does something amazing, he's not going to get coverage for that. But I mean, that's how I feel like the news is in general since my existence.
Fox News would cover it though.
Well, it'd be the only one. But again, I want to look into it a lot more so I can see, because I'm not on either side. But that is something I totally agree with. I know when we were talking offline, and it just killed me that day because, and this is, and I remember telling you, I said, look, it doesn't surprise me that he hasn't done it because he's a boss. He's not a leader. With Obama, he had the ability to unify with his speeches and with his charisma. He had the ability to unify the country and at least go in a unified direction. Doesn't matter if it was right or wrong. Where, man, Trump, he has the perfect opportunity just to come out and be like, look, this is wrong. What's going on is wrong. I'm praying for the country or whatever. And he has the perfect opportunity to make change. He could literally win so many votes right now if from the other side, from the Democratic Party, if he just came out and said, I'm with you as a whole. Police brutality has to end. Police reform has to be in place. And we have to go on and get through this economic nightmare that the majority of the country is experiencing right now, but we're in it together. He has the perfect opportunity to unify this country, but he's not going to do it. And that doesn't surprise me because he's a boss. He's not a leader. I've worked for many bosses in my life, and I've worked for very few leaders in my life. And it's frustrating because I've always felt in a lot of settings, I've been a leader, mainly from sports, taught me how to lead. And I'm more of a compassionate leader, and I want unity because that's how I believe things get done. And I hate bosses. Bosses kill me. I'm just like, God, dude, you suck. Like you have the opportunity to be awesome and you choose to suck. Bosses suck, but leaders are awesome. Leaders are amazing. But again, it just none of what Trump has said or done surprises me. And I think you're a fool if it surprises you because you're not like, what did you think was going to happen? What did you think was going to happen whenever he took office? Come on. That was my best Trump face. When he does that, whenever he's like, it's like, come on, guys. But yeah, we kind of ran off on that one a little bit, but it's all good. Hey, we said we didn't want to talk politics, and here we are talking politics. It's a hot topic.
I know, man. You can't avoid it, especially in a year like we're going through right now. It's just it's top of everybody's mind. So we got to get that out there and kind of work through these things. I think it's I think it's helpful, and we've got a really good conversation planned for later in this week obviously, we need to do a little bit more research um, off the air and be prepared, because when we really later this week, I want to dive into this conversation. But I want to be prepared, and I don't want to just be like, pulling stuff out of thin air.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so yeah, I mean, not our intent to be a political channel by any means, but certainly, top of everybody's mind, things that are, very relevant in today's America, but also, today's world. So,
Hmm.
um, you know, I hope everybody enjoyed today's episode here. We're going to be back. Like I said, we've got some great topics coming up. I've got a great personal story that I haven't really shared with a lot of people about, my life and kind of my reformation from kind of being sheltered as a kid to, living in West Philadelphia and experiencing completely different things than what I experienced when I was a kid. So stay tuned for that. Hoping we'll get that out later this week. And, of course, we'll be back with some other main events. I'm sure some things will have happened by then. But yeah, I mean, that's all I've got for now. Juan, anything else you want to add, man?
Yeah, I mean, as always, aliens are real. They exist. The Pentagon says so. They're smarter than us, so I trust them. Um, especially because they don't have any political agenda. They're just, yeah. Bella Thorne sucks. We should all cancel her. Again, I hate cancel culture. I think it's it's the dumbest thing ever. But in this case, we should all cancel her. She's also a thief. I feel like she should have criminal charges brought against her. um, and also, good luck to everybody out there, and try to keep the spirits up. This podcast is something that we both talked about off air that's definitely going to and has already helped us kind of keep our spirits up, because we're both out of work. And yeah, if you need any help at all with anything, especially, hopefully we're providing some good laughs and a solid distraction from this craziness. And yeah, please hit the subscribe button, like, comment, share, spread the word. We're going to be here for a long time, so hopefully you can join us on this ride.
Yeah, and if you've got something to say, I've had a lot of texts and I love the feedback. Drop it in the
Yes.
comments. Let's get a conversation started here. Let's get some chatter going.
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah, guys, comments look pretty good in the comments section. Yeah, I sent out so many links to my friends that were like around the spring break, like the spring break story, and they would all text me back and have these great comments. And I'm like, oh, Keith was right. I just like, oh man, like please, guys, hit our comment section. Like this helps us. This helps us a ton. This helps us a ton. So yeah, I know you're pumped to text us back, and we love the feedback through text. But comment, and we've got eyes on that, so we will definitely reply on there.
Oh, absolutely. Comment, subscribe, share. We've got some great stories coming up, here on the next videos, and we've got a logo coming out soon. It's gonna be it's gonna be super official. So keep your eyes peeled for that. We'll definitely. I'm really excited. This is something that we've been working on for weeks here. So a culmination of
Yeah.
some weeks of hard work gonna finally be coming out. But yeah, that does it for us, everyone. Hope you're having a great week, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.